can't believe how many people I talk to, Craig, that have never heard of the words culture jamming. So, I mean, to someone who has never heard of it before, how would you describe culture jamming?
Well, first of all, I don't want to be contrarian. Well, actually, I do want to be contrarian, but I don't want to be perverse. I must say I don't really care if people know the words culture jamming. It really has to do with activity.
Speaking of the right to jam,
steal the best ideas, remake them into your own, and go out and do something new. I mean, that's what artists and freaks and pranksters have done forever.
if you think about it, it's not entirely accurate. It's culture jamming culture jamming culture. And then the culture jams at me.
Sort of a slap in the face. There's something a little bit shocking, embracing about it, you know, sort of a good healthy slap.
You got jam, as in like jamming the machinery, like the Luddites throwing the wrench into the machine, jamming the machinery. Like
we can reconfigure the logos that confront us. We have that power.
Billboards are there, the canvas is there. Go use it.
Reconfigure.
You know, just get out there and don't get caught.
I don't get caught.
No, when I'm in jail, I don't like it.
Don't get caught.
There's always that feeling in jail that they've lost your records.
Jamming the machinery.
The way to protect yourself from the sort of insidious corporate culture is to sort of take the classic expressions of that corporate culture and sort of add a little sort of a twist that redefines their meaning in a revolutionary direction and send it back in their faces. That sounds like as good a definition as culture jamming as I can come up with extemporaneous.
What did the peasants do in the Middle Ages when they're being wiped out by the aristocracy? You know, they tried to get a job as court jester. Where they wouldn't kill them and they'd feed them and they could make fun of the king and get away with it. I mean, the rest of them got hacked to bits.
Culture jamming, you know, in essence, in a single sentence, is, you know, again, semiological guerrilla warfare.
Culture jamming culture. We have that jamming power. Jamming.
What's my product? Stay on that bum. You? Arrested. What for?
Well, I get about between 5 and 20 emails a week usually from kids or college kids or students, and they all want to, you know, a lot of them want to join the Billboard Liberation Front. So what do I tell them? I mean, I write them all back, and I go, look, you know, we're a bunch of like 50-year-old fogies. You wouldn't like our music. You know, we smell bad. We're really old and creaky. We'd have a hard time keeping up with you. Why don't you start your own group? Okay, and that's what we did.
Billboards, transit ads, and street furniture are the three categories of advertising that we're most interested in here.
We love billboards. A big part of our mission has been to encourage people to go ahead and use these canvases. Artists, maniacs, business people, you know, right wing, left wing, we don't care as long as they're putting up their own message.
We are billboard and transit advertising company. We are the largest in the world. We have approximately 240,000 advertising faces in North America. We're in Canada and we're also in Mexico.
Well, we started in December of 1977, and we were inspired by another group, the San Francisco Suicide Club, where we'd go out with a smaller bunch of people and improve advertising copy. The advertising campaigns of the 70s were pretty largely hackneyed and not very creative, and we felt that they needed some help with their ad copies. For instance, the Fact cigarette campaign, and the caption was, "I'm realistic, I only smoke Fact." Now, we thought that was pretty silly, So we changed those billboards to say, I'm real sick, I only smoke fat, with an arrow going from the word fat to the Surgeon General's warning.
When you're putting something on the street that's 4 by 6 feet on the sidewalks, backlit, and people are walking by it, you're playing God.
That's correct.
You're playing God. There are many moves afoot to restrict more advertising. So it's an ongoing war, if you will. Perhaps a friendly one, but an ongoing war.
Think Different was pretty recent. That was 99. Now, regardless as to the value of the product, I might say that Apple computers are a fine product, but they're using these images of these wonderful, spiritually profound people to sell a product. And we're just taking them back. We're just saying, okay, you guys sold your computer with Amelia Earhart. Now we're taking her back for us. It's like, what would she think? She flew off in a plane and disappeared. She was a doomed icon. A very romantic image. Oh yeah, the Shit Happens billboard, which is probably our best known. I think it's at least our most publicized to date. That billboard was, of course, in response to and in support of Exxon Corporation after they had this oil spill up in southern Alaska. And that was 1989, and we were just responding to this situation. It was very big in the news at that time. The billboard originally said "Hits Happen." It was a radio station billboard, and we changed it to "Shit Happens," making sure belaboring the obvious, I suppose. I sat and watched people walking by that for hours, and everybody who looked at it got a chuckle out of it. People from all walks of life. And that was good. That made me feel good. That made me feel, we did something here, because it didn't. What do you want? You want to go up and spray paint "fuck Exxon" on the billboard? That's just tacky.
The culture jamming for me is like breathing. If you never exhaled, you'd suffocate, right? And yet we're just supposed to sit back and take in all the streaming commercials and television and messages, and I'm supposed to take it in. It's just supposed to all stay inside? No way. The stickers and the jamming is more about having a dialogue where there isn't one, and kind of expressing a bit of resentment to the fact that there isn't one. Participating in my environment, because my environment is just filled with images and messages that can have an impact on me, and so it's having an impact back, feeling like there's some kind of, like I'm alive. There's no button on my television so that I can go and talk back into it and send it back to NBC or ABC or CBC or whoever, right? There's no, on the billboards, there's no place where they say, okay, what's your reaction? There's no design in the system for my response, for any kind of engagement or participation. So it's just a way of kind of carving out that place in space. I went to U of T and I took semiotics. It was a study of signs and symbols.
I like this one, there's already a lot on it.
We had a book about deconstructing ads. And it was just funny because it was like, wow, I guess we learned how to deconstruct ads by writing all over them. Because if you're sitting back and you're looking at an ad and you're thinking, man, that ad really bugs me. I want to do something back to it. You have to kind of understand the language that the ad's using to manipulate you before you manipulate it back, because you want to use the same kind of language. There's like this constant war for territory, mind share. then there's always that really interesting moment when I'm putting out the stickers. Because whoever's on, I check out the people on the train, and sometimes I'm a little like less obvious about it, and other times if I'm feeling really brass, I'll just like peel it off and look around and like stick it on and be like, yeah, I'm not supposed to do that, but I did it. Like, what are you gonna do about it? I bet you like it because it's something interesting to watch. I've gotten comments from just pedestrians or like other citizens. They see me doing this and they need to respond, so they'll read aloud what I just wrote and look at me and ask me what I mean by it, or they'll comment on it. I haven't had too much conflict. I've had tons of other friends who've gotten arrested or who've gotten stopped and have argued their case. People who don't like it usually don't say anything. It's weird.
What do you think about that?
You think people should have a right to do that?
No, I don't think so. It is in violation of other vendors' advertisements. So I would think that many would find it offensive.
And do you find it offensive?
Yes.
And you, sir?
I do as well, yes.
I think it's really important to remember that we target the brands because the brands are the ones that are hovering out there above us and the ones that the companies invest so much money into creating. But it's not just the brands. You know, we're targeting that to get to something much more deeper that we can't necessarily access. That's one of the reasons culture jamming is so popular among so many people, is because they can't call up and call Philip Knight from Nike and tell him to have more responsible labor practices, but they can access one of the many plethora of Nike ads that are in their environment, and they can start knocking that brand to have an effect.
We want frozen pies and shaved cream. We want laxatives and beer. We want.
I think revolutionaries believe that eventually the majority will come around to reclaiming their own lives. And I believe that the resistance to consumerism is just beneath the surface of lots and lots of people in our culture.
Market.
More and more selling.
Sell.
Yeah, we branded.
Sell.
More and more selling must be done.
Sell.
Brain.
Enough is enough.
Is that who I don't have?
We have to start a transgressive drama, a talking to ourselves that is outside of the big crushing narrative that's coming down on us from all the products. Something like what we're going to do in the Disney store.
I don't want to get anything here. I feel bad being here. I'm not going to buy that Snow White for Christina. It's going to be bad for her. There you go.
And so that's why I think that even though it's small scale, I think it does feel revolutionary. It feels great when you do it. It feels great.
Now that would be at the end of the performance. The secret is you want to be in a regular voice tone most of the time. People accept you because they don't think you're performing. Later, raise your voice and make it an opera and have some fun. Okay, everybody.
Okay.
If you're being honest and if you're doing it at a high volume, you're not being a consumer. Consumers don't express themselves. They buy a product that they think expresses them. Consumers don't really speak their minds.
All right, put your hands together here now. We're going to have a little prayer here. A little prayer. Hallelujah.
Let's join our souls.
Okay. I want to address the part of the sky that's not yet covered with logos. We're going to go into the Disney store now. And we're going to challenge those products.
Are you really a priest?
No, I'm a fake preacher.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
You can see that. All right, people.
No, this is Reverend Billy. This is a character I've created He has a set of beliefs, and I've cast myself in this role. The old dare to be foolish never applied more than it does at any time than it does to right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Reverend Billy from the Church of Stop Shopping. We are en route at this time to the Times Square Disney store. When we are in the Times Square Disney store, we honestly hope that we will disrupt the shopping process there and talk people into understanding that this is a sweatshop company. Please boycott Disney and find out what other companies do this kind of thing. Thank you.
I think at the beginning I was really at my wit's end. I had lost my theater in San Francisco. I guess I came to New York because it's supposedly the center of my world, the great mecca of theater. But then it was systematically already en route to submitting to the transnationals. Disney was signing this amazing Manifest Destiny deal to evict small vendors, and police were picking up anybody who didn't look as if they were in possession of a credit card. And that was happening before my eyes, and I didn't want to be associated with that theater. So I started shouting out on the sidewalk, preaching that Mickey Mouse is the Antichrist, and I was doing it in Times Square in front of their flagship store.
This is all commodified.
We're just buying things, and we think that that's the way that we construct the meaning in our lives. And we wonder why we have an empty feeling, a dull feeling. Of course, they want us to have that empty, dull feeling because we just get into that vicious cycle. We have to go back and buy something else.
And don't get me wrong, I like nice things. I like nice cars. I like nice guns. I like nice dinner, in a nice restaurant. But that's only part of it, The other part is, it's going out there and being with other human beings and having an adventure. That's part of life. Doing something together, working together, climbing something, hiking through the woods, where you're not just consuming a prepackaged event or a prepackaged experience.
Okay, this one's really, really earnest and cheesy, and we should all get together and we can fix it all, okay? Navigating through the world in your imagination, trying not to drown in all the information, the saturated self, overwhelmed by stimulation. The only way out is to follow inspiration. The best defense against the barrage is to commence a culture collage. I'd like you to consider the concepts I deliver. In time the words are wither, just as everything does, cause the entropy rules, and rules are made for fools to follow and wise people to interpret. I heard it through the grapevine, we just need to unwind, stop being unkind. Open up our closed minds. Open up our closed minds. I'd like you to consider the concepts I deliver. Probably kids see more mediated images than real people. You'll get marketed the same product in tons of different environments, or the same family of products. It could be a toy and a movie and a soundtrack and a clothing label and a sports celebrity. They're all woven together, and throughout your day you'll go to different places and you'll get marketed. One is when you're on the toilet in the bathroom on a commercial that's on the stall. The other is in a magazine you're reading. The other is a television screen in the elevator. The other is a logo on someone's shirt or tattooed on their body. The other is, cultural references people continually bring up in their conversation. Everywhere you go, it's very pervasive, and I would say way more pervasive than it used to be. What system of information and communication is out there that's not influenced by interests, corporate interests?
I don't know. Do what we learn in school, is that a bias?
Well, let's just take a little stroll.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any soft drinks that are exclusively in your school? Which soft drink?
Coke.
Coke.
So there's no Pepsi, nothing else.
I need a Pepsi.
So you've been branded two ways. You've got your Mac and your Coke. This is what our culture is all about, right? All of these brands, the reason that they mean anything to you is because people have put a lot of work into just what it's going to mean in your head. There's an expression called mind share. And companies who make brands are concerned about the mind share that they have in the youth population. So basically they're saying, yeah, we've branded their brain really good. It's like, we've got a lot of mind share there. They know what our brand is and they like what it means. And if someone is going to go out and do something to poke fun at this, or to subvert it, or to expose what's really going on, suddenly that's threatening something that they've put so much money into in such a simple way.
Like, I still love Barbie and I can't stop. Yeah. It's everywhere in my house. I have backpacks and gym bags. I have everything Barbie and I can't stop. I have soap. Barbie soap that I still use. I cannot stop. Like, that's scary, and I don't want my kids to be like that.
Have you done anything around Barbie? Like, have you done any work on your own around Barbie?
No.
Because you got a lot of stuff to work with.
I know
you got a lot
I do,
of stuff
you
to
know,
work with.
It's really cool, and I know that, mental health horrible. I know all that, but I really like Barbie a lot.
I never tell them to go out and do it themselves without being fully aware of how responsible they are. The teacher never has to condone what we're saying. Usually the teacher says, I don't condone this, but you should know about it. And I mean, it's the same case with so many issues. Like, kids should know about them. Not necessarily be encouraged to do it, but knowledge is power.
Reverend Billy has prepared the way. He has public support. He has a theatrical concept beyond what he's doing that is considered by many people to be in a different sphere. So when he goes into the Disney store, he's not in the same position as someone, madly running amok. I mean, he has organized things and made it so that he really doesn't face so much danger. Reverend Billy belongs to a long tradition of theater activism.
Children, we are from the Church of Stop Shopping, and I am Reverend Billy. We are here today. We are here today, children. Praise be, do I have a witness? We are here today to discourage the purchase of these little neurotic Christmas tchotchkes. Children, we are asking you to boycott Disney products. Please remember that the people in rural China, the people in Saipan and Sri Lanka are getting 16, 19 cents an hour for working 70 hours a week. And they are not allowed to unionize. Please don't buy things here.
The store is considered private space, but in order to make it legal to arrest someone in the store, the person would have to be given notice that they weren't wanted in the store and that they should remove themselves from the premises, because that was what would make it clear that if the person didn't leave, it would be a trespass.
They're expended ads, children. We're here with the media.
The police are coming.
The police are coming. And here we have the manager of this wonderful store, Laura. Hey, man, let's give Laura a big round of applause. Laura, hallelujah. She's bopping. She's bopping here in the Disney store.
Oh, Reverend, kill me, please. Kill me, please.
Do you have a Disney problem?
I got a problem.
I know.
They're so cute.
Mickey Mouse out of your soul. Go forth and shop no more, child. You've been saved. Another saved soul. He won't have to buy anything Disney for the rest of his life.
Now that's culture jamming.
Thank you so much for coming to the Church of Stop Shopping today.
And I love it if I see somebody and their jaws down and their eyes are... what is this? What is the guy doing? What? Mickey's the devil, but he's not a Christian? What? Is he an actor? Or is this a stunt? And you see him looking around, they're looking at the cameras, and they're trying to add it up. As soon as they can add it up, then it's less important to them. If that suspension takes place for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, they're going to take that home, and they're going to still be thinking about it a week later.
And I'd just like to say, Laura, you've been very polite.
Yeah, okay.
Hallelujah. Woo! Good night, people.
They might even hesitate to buy a Disney product. Maybe.
I'm just offended by what just happened in the store. Where I spend my money and where I go to shop is my business, not anyone else's. Especially an idiot like whoever he was.
Oh, you were offended with what he had to say.
Right.
I'm offended that Disney has a sweatshop. I could see Kathy Gifford and but Disney. I'm going to check it out, I tell you, because I spend a lot of money in Disney.
In this latest action, we wanted to find the highest concentration of .com billboards that we could. So we went straight to the US 101 corridor between San Francisco and Silicon Valley. This is a commute route for everybody who works in the valley, and it's papered with boards on both sides with enormous structures that are some of the most expensive structures in the world, by the way, as much as $80,000 a month to get on one of those babies.
That's the rental for one of these billboards, $80,000 a month.
The next step will be creating mechanicals from that, which is where we'll create our overlay and actually put that into production. Our method of choice now is to paste up onto a lightweight foam core with two-sided tape, double stick tape. Wonderful stuff.
Absolutely.
It's easy
Applies
on,
very easily.
Easy on, easy off, and
no damage to the underlying billboard.
Right. Which is important to us because we always keep in the back of our mind that there are real people who are going to have to come up and clean up our mess after us.
Well, generally, unless they're caught in the act, it's hard. It's not like a fingerprint.
Well, I debate the fact that it's illegal, actually. See, property damage is illegal, and we don't actually damage these billboards. So, in effect, we're not really doing anything illegal. We're just borrowing the space.
There's a $400 cap in terms of what's a felony or what's a misdemeanor. So if a kid swabs up a board and you can replace it for $50, that's still a misdemeanor. If they really destroy a valuable $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 a month billboard, then you're talking about a felony.
So your radios, I got one. Can I go ahead and leave these? Cutting the tape. We got several razor blades here.
Primarily, though, it's defacing private property.
Com check, anybody over?
It's a shame that our society has put us in this position.
It's a sham and it's a shame.
We have an illumination patrol at night, and occasionally you'll make an arrest right there.
You know, there are certain technicalities of the law that apply. I mean, like, take trespassing, for instance. How many people do you know have ever done any hard time for trespassing?
Gets here. Anybody got to take a piss? Do it now. Says and ma'am, move back in that direction and keep an eye on the oncoming traffic. Keep the radio up and ready to go.
Team, be advised, there's a ravine between us and the bridge. All eyes forward.
Okay. And it's fun. It has to be fun. Okay. I mean, anything that we do, if we're not having fun, we lose. Making fun of corporations is all good and dandy, but if we're not enjoying ourselves or get too strident about it, then why the hell do it? You know, why the hell do it? I mean, they win. You know, if you have a stick up your butt, they kind of win.
Yeah, you guys want to pass one more panel up? We're just going to put an existential piece in the middle of the billboard. Helicopter!
Copy that, thank you. Phyllis, can you pick that up?
Helicopter! Okay, everybody kind of sit down and don't move.
Code red on the pole.
Code red. Code red. Code red on the leading yard.
Don't move.
Okay, they can code red on the pole.
They can see what?
They can see our comm units.
How about the video camera?
Yeah. Copy that, Sarah. We have you. Thank you. Don't move.
There are still other ways of getting your message out, rather than, you know, calling yourself some guerrilla theater group or some guerrilla group and you want to get this important message out, so you'll go and deface a billboard.
There is no free speech anymore. It's all bought and paid for. So going out and putting out your own message is really the only free speech there is.
They can call us. Many times we have an art department, we have an art director. I've helped campaigns, we've helped campaigns where people didn't have any money.
I doubt any of those companies would really run ads that are contrary to their bottom line, to their political stance. I doubt they would. I don't think they do. As a matter of fact, I've heard of many instances where they haven't, where political groups came up with enough money to rent a billboard, and they wouldn't rent it to them because they didn't like what it said.
I mean, people spend hard-earned money to buy billboards. What right does some group have to go up and deface that?
Clear. Still clear.
Code green unless somebody has an objection. You okay? Okay. Down a little bit. There. Beautiful. Okay, cool. Let's go. Pack up the stuff.
Excellent. That went better than planned.
Don't leave any junk, any garbage. Let's take all our stuff.
Where are you guys at? Over. Final billboard in sequence.
We're going to turn the switch on, and the lights are going to do whatever the hell they want to do. It's alchemy.
Got the one that's light up.
Okay, here we go.
Ow. Son of a bitch is hot. That's the last one. We're going home.
Oh, I could spend the next 40 years in going to public meetings and litigating and doing all that sort of thing and not accomplish a damn thing. Whereas I can spend a day putting a small campaign together and go out and have 10,000 people see it and take a photograph of it and put it on our website and have 100,000 people see it. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me what I should be doing.
All paper, all garbage, everything.
Anything BLF associated.
I'll bring one of them. Yeah. I think this would do is just get you to anybody.
I'm going to keep a towel with me, same purpose.
Keeping one, but I don't want to be carrying anything that can be associated with this except for this and this pile of garbage.
I've got one towel on me, and that's for being towel.
Okay, let's go.
I mean, how are you going to fight it? You can't. It's like this big blob. You can't fight it. You just have to stay a few steps ahead of it so it doesn't absorb you. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to laugh at it, because if you don't, you'll rip your throat out. I will not be a soundbite.
Draw on a billboard or draw on a bus shelter ad, I also know that anyone else who looks, I've normalized that kind of response a bit. You know, if they've seen one instance of it, it becomes an option.
I was thinking that they won't take you seriously if you deface their property.
They take it seriously just in the sense that it's their property. If their product starts to look unpopular, that's the property they really care about. 1 minute it was an ad supporting the product, the next minute, it's like an anti-ad that exposes the hidden messages and the hidden intentions of the company that sells that product, right? Why is what I'm doing illegal? Tons of things that were really important at different times were illegal. I'm not saying it's really important that I culture jam, right? But why is it illegal? What's so different from what I'm doing and what the big corporations are doing, the billboard companies are doing, you know? Other than that they have money and I don't think that's a good enough excuse. Where do you draw the line as to where they can't market? Is there a marketing free zone anywhere that's just sort of your space? Do you feel like anyone's other than you gonna fight for that? When I was going to school, there was ads in the washrooms. And I mean, what more could a culture jammer ask for than a little closed area where no one is going to catch her? We'll watch this too. I'm always ready to argue my case. Like at any point, I'm always ready to just lay it down why I'm doing what I'm doing.
It is time to be rude. It is time to be embarrassed. If you really do something that just makes you shake with the feeling of being inappropriate, you've probably found a strut, a structure of their culture that was supposed to be there. You've violated something. You've discovered their power.
I mean, if your goal is to get arrested, you behave, or to get stopped, which is often a goal, you know. Maybe sometimes it's better to have someone stop you from what you're doing, to have people pay attention. You can do things to achieve that.
I've been arrested at about a monthly rate. That's about as much as my lawyer allows me to be arrested.
I mean, I look at it from the perspective of what is the motivation for the state or the government or the society to suppress what is being done. Because you can do the same thing one year as you did the next year, and one year you will be arrested and the next year you won't. So do you not have the same right each year? Your right doesn't change. What changes is the intent and the what the society, what the state wants to do, whether the state wants to suppress it or not. That's the issue, not whether you have a right. Of course you have a right. You have any right, you assert. You have as much rights as you want to assert, and the only limits to your right is what the state says, no, you don't have that right. We won't let you have it today.
NYU will charge me with criminal trespass in the evening, and then I have to stay in jail overnight, and in the morning there's no charges.
No, I call these things tactical interventions, and they're not strategic. In fact, to turn back capitalism, that's a tall order. You know what I mean? But like I say, you at a level of tactics, you might be able to save this block or that block, or that newspaper, or that theater, or that cultural center. You know what I mean? So there can be small victories, in a larger battle.
A prank a day keeps the dog leash away.
So the real crime,
we have to discuss this with our legal department later, of course.
The real crime, of course, that nobody talks about is that we're fucking with consumer mindshare. And that's the crime that's unforgivable in this country.
That's right.
Oh, say, can you see?
Cut. How great was that? Is he worth the money?
Okay, here we go, folks. Start the win.
I mean, it's such a generic, overused term. I won't use it for anything because it's so overworked.
I much prefer the term reality hacking.
Well, I would interpret culture jamming to mean that we're forcing cultural efforts upon people, jamming it in.
There's more of them than there are of us, and ultimately, the malls will pave us over. But there's little pockets of resistance.
It's that last 1 foot, I call it, in the supermarket, where that 1 foot between your hand reaching this direction or that direction is an emotional one. And
are you one of those that follows the